Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19 as always. It seems as though a lot of this happens to me all the time. A lot of people did not like the truth in my post-game video. Thankfully, not a lot of people watched it or I'd really be in trouble. But at this point, I think I've lost like 6 or 7 subscribers from that video in a few hours. So I'm going backwards, but that's okay. I'll continue to tell the truth. And we are going to talk about Sophie Cunningham once again, because this is kind of wild, folks. So Sophie Cunningham, you may have heard of her, blonde bombshell, the bad A Barbie, and on and on and on, came to Indiana to play with Caitlin Clark, one of the few players in the league last year who was actually welcomed Caitlin Clark with open arms, had nothing but good things to say about her, came to Indiana, has been playing really well, has become a fan favorite. And then, of course, that escalated to an entirely new level against the Connecticut Sun when she put a beat down on JC Sheldon. And I'm not even talking about the foul because we've all seen the video. It actually should have been an offensive foul on JC Sheldon. And Sophie Cunningham was like, all right, you're going to bowl into me like that. You're going to eat some floor. And then as soon as that happened, Lindsay Allen and JC Sheldon both go at Sophie Cunningham, who does not back down at all, handles them both. Muay Thai grips JC Sheldon and gives her a nice little talking to, like she's a 5-year-old child who is misbehaving, gonna put baby in a corner. That's what Sophie Cunningham did. And now we've got a little something from that, folks. We got a little something from that a lot of players, the entire WNBA needs to learn this lesson. The entire WNBA needs to learn this lesson. It is a very important lesson. We had this the other day, folks. Okay, this is TikTok. Sophie Cunningham, 307,000 followers on TikTok before the incident. And then this was put out yesterday, closing in on almost 800,000 followers in a couple of days. Yes, that is right, a couple of days. And then we saw this, and it's like, whoa, wait, now it's 970,000 followers. So we've almost tripled the number of followers on social media at this point. And this was, I think, earlier today, right? So there we go, 307,000, 793,000, 970,000, right? And this was June 20th, I believe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I actually don't know what what time zone my X account goes. But anyway, obviously middle of the night, if that's Pacific or Eastern, either way. And that was today. But since this was happening so fast, I thought, hey, let's go check out Sophie Cunningham's TikTok account right now. 1.1. I just opened this up a few minutes ago, so I'm sure it has not changed, but I'll hit refresh anyway. Yeah, 1.1 million followers for Sophie Cunningham. Why? Simply because she did something that is normal in sports, but for some reason in the WNBA, it has been non-existent, and that is a teammate standing up for Caitlin Clark on the court. And again, because I know I will get the lectures, caveat, I get that Lexi Hull got in between Caitlin Clark and JC Sheldon when Caitlin was grabbing her eye and walking away, and JC was stalking her, just stood, which is great. I love it. Christy Wallace did that one time last year. I think it was like the first time a player did any of that, and you contrast that with Natasha Howard lovingly putting her arm around Marina Mayberry after Mayberry blindsided Caitlin Clark. You had, Bree Turner standing there and watching when 2 players went after her teammate, Sophie Cunningham. so I get that the Lexi Hull thing is also a big deal, but also, by the way, on this another level, what people saw, and I showed it in another video that we didn't have initially, was when all that stuff went on with Sheldon and Mabry, Sophie Cunningham was not in the game, but we got a reverse angle, and you saw she hopped off that bench and she was about to run onto the court, which is an automatic ejection, when the coach grabbed her and stopped her from doing so, which again was what allowed her to stay around and do that other thing later. So Sophie Cunningham, who, she had a level of popularity already in terms of, being a professional athlete. And look, let's face it, and, my toxic masculinity tells me that she's easy on the eyes as well. And she's got a personality that draws people as well. She's got a little bit of that charisma. But as you can see, the league has been so bad in their treatment of Caitlin Clark that Sophie Cunningham has tripled her TikTok followers in a couple days. And again, we're not talking about going from 30 followers to 90, folks. We're talking about going from 370,000 to 1.1 million, which leads me to something else that I want to add to this at the end here is the whole Angel Reese thing. And a lot of people gave Kathy Engelbert a lot of grief for her whole rivalry is good for the league. And that, by the way, is absolutely true, but you can have great rivalries without all of the nonsense that we've seen. And of course, I mean, most specifically, well, you've got Asia Wilson as well, but we all know the big one because of college and what went on there and the whole you can't see me lies and all of that is, of course, Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese could have had, I hesitate to say this just because they're clearly not in the same level as players, but let's put that aside for a second. They could have had a great rivalry that drew eyeballs and drew fans and have been much more beneficial for Angel Reese if she had played nice. And by played nice, I mean not play nice on the court in terms of not being competitive or wanting to win or any of that. But Angel Reese, although from time to time will say nice things about Caitlin Clark, it's always selective, it's always passive aggressive. And we know all of the other nonsense and the things that she said, whether it's on social media or in interviews, talking about the fans, lying about Caitlin Clark fans being and Caitlin Clark fans stalking her and following her home, which we all know didn't happen because I did a video when she actually came out and say she's never had a face-to-face interaction that was negative, which completely contradicts what she had said previously. But I'm thinking back to like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. People all now. I'm not doing it in the way that people wanted to compare them in the past about players and all this. But what I am talking about is, or I'll even keep it to the East. It might be a lesser one to all of you but Boston and Philly, right? In basketball, big time rivals, right? Always in the Atlantic division, which is I don't know, they keep changing. I can't even think of it right now. But anyway, so that was I used to have conversations with my dad all the time because he would tell me, when Bird played, he was such a huge Bird fan, and I'm like, but you're a diehard Philly sports guy. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I can appreciate Bird now. He's retired, but then, no, 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 no. Philly fans cannot like Celtics players and vice versa. Okay. There's a reason Andrew Toney got the nickname the Boston Strangler, and it wasn't because we liked Boston. But there wasn't all of that nonsense and that extra away from the game between Bird and Julius Irving, which is what I was getting to. And you know what? They threw one game. The trash talking got out of hand and they threw. But again, there wasn't all the stuff behind it like you have now with the constant targeting of Caitlin Clark and on and all of that. So anyway, I just wanted to leave it there. I just want to talk about this a little bit because I think not just props to Sophie Cunningham and props to the Caitlin Clark fans, right? The Caitlin Clark fans who are desperate. That's the thing. The Caitlin Clark fans want to embrace the league, folks. They want to embrace Caitlin Clark's teammates. They want to embrace the growth of good basketball, and y'all are making it so damn difficult. And here you can see when something as simple as defending a teammate happens, look what it does for Sophie Cunningham, right? I think her jersey went out of stock again. So you can have competition and you can have rivalry, but all the other stuff has to be set aside. All of the targeting on the court from these players, all the crap said about her fans and on and on and on. And then you get this. You will get this with other players too. There's a reason because it just came out. Nafisa Collier is second in All-Star voting, actually not very far behind Caitlin Clark. It's because Caitlin Clark fans were voting for her because they were being honest about how good she is. Unfortunately, Nafisa Collier fans and fans of everyone else in the league, like Asia Wilson and Angel Reese, none of them are voting for Fever players. So Clark fans, you might want to say, like, hey, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm just voting for Caitlin Clark. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. So much potential for the league. And here's a great example of that. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you so much. Hopefully, we don't go backwards on this video. I will talk to you later.